And pleasant good evening. Welcome to the Highland Activity Center. Normally we're in our corner over in the lobby of the Hack, but we're actually at center court. I was waiting to, have big spotlights on us here, and one of our guests saying they're taking their talents someplace else, like LeBron James did. But we've got teacher recognition ceremony that's going on next door in the Hack, and that's why I'm glad that all three of our coaches that are joining us tonight are also teachers. I grew up with a teacher. I had two siblings that were teachers, and Trevor, it's before we get to what we're going to talk about. It's rewarding being a teacher.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like any position or job that you're in, you have some ups and downs, some likes and dislikes, but it's being able to interact and work with the kids and see growth in all of them. And that's why I love coaching, and I've been doing that for so long as well. And a lot of people have said, well, you don't get paid. And I'm like, you know what? It's not really all about the money, right?
Yep.
And it's so like I talk about, it's the relationships, being able to walk out in public and kids are like, hey, Mr. Bacala, or they want to tell you a story from the weekend, little things like that. Yeah.
Well, if I had time, I would tell a story about my dad, and he was a math teacher, and something that one of his former students told him, but that's another story altogether.
Okay.
But also, before we get into the trucks of tonight's Coach's Corner, again, I want to remind you, if you're watching this live on our playsite.com, there's a little bit of an audio lag, and not much of one, but there is a little bit of a lag where the audio is behind the video. But again, once we get this archived on YouTube later on, everything will be synced up. And if you're watching us live right now on the Highland Activity Network and playsite.com, there is a little bit of a lag. Now to track and field with Coach Trevor Bacala joining us. And we've only had one meet since the last time we chatted, and that was Fargo Shanley was hosting at the Fargo South at their track. And again, another state qualifier, and not a bad track meet, would you say?
No, it was actually, temperature was a little cool, right? But overall, I mean, really a great meet, and kids performed well. And one of those days that you just gotta stay warm, right? You stay active and you keep doing things is great. It was nice that they allowed us to camp out in the auxiliary gym so kids could go in there and stay warm and not have to be outside the whole time. Overall, I mean, we had 17 personal records, again, and we always talk about those personal records and the improvement that you get, as the season progresses. But, you got, they talk about the qualifiers again, and our kids are, Greta Govan continues to just keep moving up there, and she's qualified now in the 1600, and then also bettered her mark in our own Valley City records, so she stays where she's at, but she did a better time, and then Austin Shape in the 1 and the 2 qualifying, so that was really good as well, and then won the 200 that day. And
Greta, she qualified in the 800 and 1600 last year for state, so she's repeating there. She also, I believe, runs a 3200. Didn't qualify last year as an 8th grader, but does that something she's got in her?
Oh yeah, she has the potential. I mean, I think she could probably qualify in a 400, and you can almost, you know what I mean? You get down with, she just has that natural ability to be able to run, and she also has that speed that comes along, which really helps out in that 800, that mile, because it's turned into almost a sprint. It seems like it's a different race now.
Yeah. And Reagan Berg, if memory serves, she did qualify last year, both in the 16 and the 32.
Yeah, she had a really good meet too as well. She was just shy of qualifying in the mile, and so we got another meet coming up here on Friday, and we'll try to do that again. We quickly just threw together a meet, so we're going to actually be hosting a meet here tomorrow.
Okay.
That was because of limitations. We're trying to create opportunities for our kids, and some other kids around the area. But going to Fargo, we have limitations because the meets just get too big and take too long. So those kids not traveling will now get a chance to compete at home. So and give our chance for our kids to take some responsibility and run some events, so they step up a little bit.
So tomorrow, on Thursday, you have this, or Friday?
It'll be on Thursday.
It will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're splitting our squad this week.
Sure.
Half basically tomorrow, and then the other half on Friday.
Okay.
And then we'll come back next week on the 12th and go to Kindred. Okay. So we had a couple other meets scheduled, but we're going to shift things around with things changing. We don't want to put too many things back to back to back. We need that rest recovery cycle to get ready for our last one. Will be the Bill Jansen Last Chance on the 16th here.
Yep.
And then we'll go to regionals up in Grand Forks the following
Do you
Friday.
do some tapering as you get closer to regionals?
Yeah, we always the goal this season's been a struggle, but the goal is to work through the indoor season, right? Get to that outdoor season, continue to keep working and progress, and then you want to taper a little bit, but we talk about, where we're peaking, right? Where we want to peak at that right time. And typically it's been around regionals and state, and our kids have done pretty well, during those times. Now, okay, you look across the state everywhere, some of those kids that have that natural ability they're able to get those qualifications, but there still haven't been very many yet. So we'll see.
Any other names that come to mind of some athletes you feel that have had a good year, are doing well, and really have the potential of exceeding as they get here towards the regional?
Gosh, where do you want me to start? I mean, I could go down the list of all the kids. When I look at we have a small group of seniors, and they continue to lead us, which is really nice. Connor Fennig, he's a distance runner, but he's been very consistent, getting PRs still. And which is nice to see. And then we've had kids dual sporting this year, many more than usual, or in other activities. They've got DECA or speech, or it's whatever it is going on. And so for some of those kids, we haven't had the chance to really work, to progress and get where they want. But Maggie Doctor's been around for a long time with us, another senior that's been doing. She's consistent, and as well. But then you talk about with some younger kids, really, that's the you can get into the junior high, and we have some quick girls in they've been running for us. Chesney Thompson, she's been running really well. You can go Leighton Didier's another one. She's picked up pole vault. I think that's going to be a really good event for her, for her to continue. So it's nice to see some of these young kids continue to perform. So. And
I know a freshman, Dylan Hunt, set an indoor record, I think, freshman record with the shot.
He's, a kid's, he's a man-child, and he's a big boy, and he's starting to figure some things out, which is really nice, and he's throwing well. He, again, got another PR this past weekend, and you can keep on going down the list. Scott, Rhodey's another one. So we have a really big group of those freshmen. But, we can't leave out some of those, sometimes those throwers that get, they're off in no man's land. They're not on the track. And
right.
But they've been doing really well, too. I mean, even the distance run, like Carly Govan, she's running, but she's also throwing javelin, and she hit another personal record. And we got Tiana Judd is in there and Claire Powell. So we've got several kids that are, they keep doing this, which is good, and then we want to hit that high point at the final end. So,
do you see with these multi-sport or multi-event athletes that they're very disciplined because they got to, time management and really got to work on a lot of those skills if they're going to do multi-events?
We have a few kids that are they're figuring that out, and then the process and the procedure. When do I warm up exactly? Some of that's that individual side. Track's it's a team sport, but a lot of it's individual, right? You got to be ready when you need to be ready, and you got to be where you need to be.
Yep.
And so they're figuring that out. We just had a case with Jovi Borg, who's another one. Yep. She's trying to pole vault, throw discus, throw javelin, jumping, and where do I go, but sometimes that late arrival and that hectic pace is done well. She hit a 14-foot jump, and that's the furthest she's jumped all season. So she surprised herself, but it's. She's doing good.
So. And you say that's good,
but
yeah.
It's but they're figuring it out. It's nice to have, but unfortunately with track and field, there's no always the set times until you get to regionals. That your events you could be doing nothing, and then they could all happen at one time, unfortunately. So
this is going to be an interesting question, but I know in wrestling, if you are in a tournament, you have to wait 45 minutes from one match to the next before they let you wrestle again. How about in track and field? Let's say you just got done running the 200, but you got another event that's going to start in 5 minutes after you finish the 200. Do you have more than that 5 minutes, or do you got to?
They will, and really that comes down to just meet management, event judges. Saying, okay, hey, we'll give you some time, right? But kids are allotted a certain amount of time if they need to jump, things like that. We do have times, though, where it's, hey, we're closing the pit if it's long jump. So the kids got to get in there and get their jumps in, unfortunately, You are hurried at times. But, you won't run the 1,600, then the 3,200 back-to-back or anything like that. There's plenty of rest in there. But we do have some kids that have, Sydney Ingstead, for one, she enjoys running the 800.
Okay.
She comes right off of that. Well, the 200's right after, and she she'll jump into that, and she's still running good times, So it's just one of those things.
That's almost like a warm-up run. The 800's a warm-up run.
It seems like it. Yeah. Well, she really likes that event. So there are some cases where the kids can do that, and if they're able to, then it works out. So.
All right. Well, again, a reminder, tomorrow. What time's things going to get started tomorrow?
We're going to start at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like weather should be okay.
It is, and we've got everything ready to go this time. We're prepared. Well, we ran that quick meet last time, and we tried to do everything within about an hour, and we found that it's not. No.
Speaking of time management.
No, yeah. So this time we're a little more prepared.
All right. So 3 o'clock. A few teams coming.
Yeah, we've got teams around the area.
Yeah.
Barnes County North, Maple River has come in. Kindred's bringing a few kids. Winemere. I think we have who else is coming? Can't remember a few off the hand, but yeah, just around the area. It'll be a nice small meet for kids and chance for them to compete and have a little bit of success too.
And then one on Friday for the other half, like so, it's kind of a split squad.
Yep. Yeah, it just creates more opportunity for the kids. We're trying to do what we can to give them, especially with a lot of things being canceled, rescheduled this year. It's been a difficult planning season, we'll say, So,
well, hopefully May will bring better weather.
Absolutely.
Looks like it's going to be a great weekend. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be nice.
Cross your fingers. All right, Trevor, thanks much.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Coach Trevor Bacalar joining us from the Highliner Track and Field. We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner from the Hack, not the lobby like we normally are. We are at the Hack here right at center court. So the big spacious set for us here tonight. Now, before we get into the Highliner golf team, just a reminder again, if you're watching here on PlaySite.com and the Highliners Activity Network, a little bit of a lag, that audio just a little bit of one is behind the video. But again, it all syncs up later on YouTube. If you want to watch it again later on this evening or tomorrow, it'll be all synced up on YouTube. But again, just a little bit of an audio lag if you're watching us live on PlaySite.com. Well, we'll talk Highliner Golf and Trevor Hansen joining us. And Trevor, I did the same thing with Coach Bacalar. I'm glad that all the coaches joining us are also teachers on Teacher Recognition Day. I grew up with a teacher. You're a teacher yourself. It is a rewarding profession to get as a teacher, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. You get to work with kids every day, and you get to feel like a kid once in a while. You get to have some fun in the hallways and laugh, and it feels good. So.
Well, we are talking golf, finally getting some meets. As a matter of fact, we've gotten 3 in here so far this year. A couple at Bois de Sioux. I think one was supposed to be Maple River and got moved to Bois de Sioux down in the Wampanoag Breckenridge area. And you got to play the Detroit Lakes Country Club. First off, that first meet, a 428 team score in that first meet. But you beat Wampanoag on their home course. You got to be happy with that.
Yep. It was good to see that, we could compete, at least with a few EDC teams. We have struggled the last few years. We've been taking that 10th place. Now there's 11 teams in the EDC. We found out a few days before the season started, essentially, that Horace would have a varsity team, which we didn't know until, 2 days before the first meet. But, yeah, it was good to see that. Wapaton's young. They lost a lot of kids. We're a little older. And we got some senior leadership.
Eric Ingstad in 93, he was your top finisher. And then you had another meet and took 34 strokes off that one on the same course. Was there different weather conditions, or did the kids get a chance that they knew the course now and played it a little bit better?
The weather was kind of hit and miss. Wednesday was cold and windy, so it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Friday was good for the first 12 holes, and then it started raining. So, of course, they all had rain gear. They're all good to go. Yeah. But rain and wind. So, honestly, I thought it was tougher playing conditions on Friday because of the last 5, 6, 7 holes.
Sure. You said, and 394 was the team score there, and I think you had 4 kids in the 90s. And that's something a goal you guys set at the beginning of the year to have. You knew you had 4 or 5 guys that could get into those 90s consistently.
Yep, and that was our goal. My goal for our team is to shoot 360, which is a lot lower than 394, but 4 90s, 4 flat-out 90s. I think Eric can get a lot lower, in the meet yesterday, Eric shot 92, which is a decent score for that course. It's a par 71, so it's 21 over, but it's a very tough course. It's pretty short, so it's not terribly long. Tons of trees, OB, water. It just has penalties written all over it. And Eric hit the ball pretty well, hit his driver awesome, but he had about 5 3-putts, and we cut out 5 3-putts. He's at 87. He cuts off a couple of, not so great chips. He's at 85. I mean, his 85 is right there. And honestly, our qualifying meet, or there is a qualifying meet on Monday at Village, and it's 7 over the medalist. So if the medalist shoots 75, it's 82. So I think that there's obviously he can do that.
The course, you were at the Detroit Lakes Country Club, and of course, if you're not a golf fan, the Pine de Palm is played there every year. One of the biggest amateur tournaments, I think. And we've had a lot of Valley City guys that have done quite well. And you've competed in the Pine de Palm, haven't you?
Yep. I played it the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a super fun tournament. You got to be 16 and older to play in it, but it is absolutely fun, that match play and that atmosphere. And that course is set up really neatly as by the clubhouse. There's tons of greens and tee boxes. So you can literally stand at the clubhouse and watch 3 tee boxes and probably 3 or 4 greens. 11 green is there, 5 green is there, 18 green is there, 9 green is there. There's a lot of, you don't have to go far, and there's a lot of places to watch.
Now, you mentioned Village Green is the next course. You've seen 3 courses now. You will be seeing your 3rd course coming up. All 3 fairly different?
Well, we've only seen 2.
Boyd Sioux and Detroit Lakes, then
right.
Village Green will be your 3rd one next
Well,
up.
Edgewood is on Friday and Saturday.
Saturday.
Sorry,
The North
Village is on Monday.
Okay.
But, yes. Well, to be honest with you, they all have a lot of trees.
Okay.
So Wahpeton's not terribly wooded, but the backside has some trees. Wahpeton's pretty long, and they tipped it out, so they got us to like 6,600 yards, so that's pretty long. And then Edgewood is tons of trees, water, OB. It's going to be similar to Detroit Lakes. Not as difficult with as many penalty areas, but has a lot of trees, so that can get cumbersome. Yeah, I would say in general they're fairly similar.
What do you see as the biggest thing? If you look at your players, we talked about Eric, Ethan Bear, memory comes to Alex Rogelstead, I think Thomas Pfeiffer, if memory serves, in there as well. What do they got to do to maybe take 2, 3, 4 strokes off their game as they progress here down the line?
Well, honestly, and I tell them this too, in the 6 weeks that we got together, or this year maybe 4 or 5 weeks we got together, because the courses aren't even open yet in Valley City.
Right.
They have to get better at their short game. Their short game has to improve. Chipping and putting, they have to spend 20 to 30 to 40 minutes every day doing that, even, after practice or before practice or before I get there, when it's 3:45, you jump on the chipping, putting green for 15 minutes. It's short game, and that's everybody, to take strokes off is short game. There are some things kids can do to get better in, irons and driver and hitting it off the tee box and stuff. But honestly, like I said about Eric, he makes those 5 3-putts, 2-putts. That's 5 strokes.
Is that where a lot of meets can be won or losses in or around the green, on or on the green?
Yeah, I mean, you can hit the ball not the greatest, and you can score really well if you chip and putt well.
Because I watch some of these PGA guys that hit 330-yard drives, but once they get on the green, they look like a newborn fawn. They just aren't real good sometimes around the green. Hey, you can drive as long as you want, but you got to finish the hole.
Yep. Drive for show, putt for dough. That's what they say.
That is true. That's right. That's true. So now we've got it's a Fargo North kind of a tournament coming up here this weekend, Friday, Saturday. Do you like that? Give them a chance to maybe have a little two-day event where the guys are going to have see the course back-to-back days.
Yeah, I liked some of the guys when they get done with the course feel like they left some shots out there, and they say, "Well, I would have done this or would have done that," or geesh, I just didn't play well. I just didn't play well. So I want to get at it when I can play better or hit the ball better. The only thing that stinks is Eric's got to go for drill, so he'll be there Friday, won't be there Saturday. So that stinks, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's out and glad he's competing. So.
And did you say Edgewood? And see, that's one thing. Edgewood, that's always seems to be a course that is flooded over the years. But luckily, not this year?
Well, I just found out yesterday that the crest was 25 feet on the Red River, supposed to be today or tomorrow, and that will not affect many of the holes. I think one of the holes is going to be going from a par 5 to a par 4. So it'll be a par maybe 70. I don't know if it's a 71 or 72, but I think it'll go down one stroke. But it sounds like if it doesn't, get any higher than that, we can play.
Well, you mentioned something to me we didn't before we started. When you beat Wahpeton, first EDC team that you've beaten in your 5 or 6 years here as head coach.
Yep. We didn't have season in 20, but I've been the head coach since 16. So that's the first time we beat an EDC team. And we've had some good golfers, and we've had some good individuals. We've just had trouble putting 4 complete scores together. So,
well, get them on the course, and that's all you got to just get on the course and play.
Yeah, and like I said before, it's a little trouble. The country club is supposed to possibly be opening tomorrow. It hasn't been open.
Right.
Luckily, I know some guys around there, and they let us play a little bit yesterday. Sure. They let us play a little bit last week before the rain came, and they let us play some today before they even opened. So thankfully, I know some guys, and they let me on, or our kids on, to play some holes. We have no driving range. We can't chip and putt. The municipal's closed, and will be closed for the foreseeable future, which is where we hit our range usually. So honestly, these kids are doing pretty well. We haven't practiced.
Right.
I mean, we putted a few times, chipped a few times, and then they played a couple holes the other day. Literally, our practice yesterday was, I said, guys, we're going to get there early, and we're going to hit a lot of range. So I got lots of range balls, got them on the range, and I said, you start swinging. I'm going to start putting together some things that I see, some tendencies, try to help you a little bit. However, it's very difficult to change things the day of the tournament.
Sure.
We're not going to start fixing broken right there, but at least I can see you hit the ball, and we can kind of see where that goes. So our practice literally has been the driving range before meets.
Well, let's get them out there. Looks like it's going to be a good weekend weather-wise, and get the guys on the course, and we'll see what happens. And again, we'll talk again in a couple of weeks and see where. Because think about it. The next time we have our show on the 18th of May, you're going to be close to the towards the end of the year. So we'll really probably know what kind of a team you have here in a couple of weeks, won't you?
Yeah, and as the weather gets better, yesterday was beautiful. 6-mile-an-hour wind and 55 degrees. Boy, those kids were. Some didn't play well, but they were like, man, it was nice out there. So,
all right. Well, Trevor, thanks again for stopping by, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
You bet. Coach Trevor Hansen joining us from the Highlander Golf Team. We'll be back with more Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on the Highlander Activity Network and Coach's Corner here from the Hack. And again, a reminder, if you aren't watching us live on PlaySite.com, just a little bit of that audio lag, the audio a little bit behind the video, but then it'll be all synced up. And later on, when we get this archived on our YouTube channel. At the end of the show, I'll remind you how you can watch all these great events that we have on the Highlander Activity Network. And again, it is Teacher Recognition Day next door. They're having the teacher recognition, a lot of retirees for Valley City Public Schools. Last year's Teacher of the Year joining us now, as well as coach of the tennis team, Matt Nielsen. Matt, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me here.
I'm glad you could join us. And I've asked both Trevors, Trevor Hansen, Trevor Bacalar, this. I like having all of our coaches or teachers too. And science is your what you teach, and just the fulfillment you get as a teacher.
And I talk to my students all the time about you need to figure out what you're passionate about. And I learned my passion when I was a senior in high school. I was with Dr. Stickler, a mentor of mine at VCSU. And as a senior in high school, I was taking his college-level chemistry course. He put me in charge of a study group, and I loved that more than anything else I was doing. I'm like, I'm going to become a chemistry teacher. And I've had such great fulfillment teaching, and there's no way I'm changing professions. And I'm here for the long haul. I love it, and I hope I believe I am. And I hope I'm doing great things for students and helping them to be prepared for life.
Well, I'm sure they come back and say, hey, Mr. Nielsen, you remember that? And you get those conversations.
Of course we do all the time.
Well, now we'll get into the other thing that you're kind of like a teacher when you're a coach. You're teaching some life skills in the coaching profession. In tennis, before we get to last night's match with Shanley, last week, Fargo Davies, 7-2 final loss to Davies. Your thoughts on that matchup with the Eagles?
Fargo Davies is the best team in the East, and they have 4 players that could play number 1 in almost any team. And we lost 7-2, and but Breck and Olivia lost a 2-hour and 46-minute doubles match at number 1 doubles to last year's EDC champs. Lost it in a second set tiebreak and a third set tiebreak, so we're right there with the EDC champs. And then Brecken's singles played very well against their number 1, and I think she lost 4-3 and had several deuces in there. So I mean, we were right there. But yeah, it's gonna be tough for anybody to knock Davies off in the East. Out West might have a shot to take him out, but I'd say Davies has that inside track to the state championship this year, and they probably be the odds-on favorite.
Well, Georgia Zahn was a winner in singles at number 6 singles, and then Georgia and I think your daughter Kaylee Nielsen were the winners in doubles.
Yep, they were, and it was really weird because Davies has usually been extremely deep, so it's like we don't get wins at JV either. But Alyssa Thompson and Ella Olson went like 5-2 or 6-2 on the day at JV against their top JV. So next year Fargo Davies is going to lose 3 out of their top 4, and usually they just reload. I don't know if they can reload this year, so it'll be interesting to see how Davies fares coming up after their title run this season.
And you guys don't lose anybody. So.
We don't lose anyone.
So we'll think about that.
There we go.
Then last night, Fargo Shanley, a 6-3 win over the Deacons last evening. So 2-1 in the EDC, 2-1 overall.
Yep.
And then in what's a busy week for you guys, and we'll talk about that here as well. But you look at last night's win. I'll be honest, seeing both Breck and Olivia losing in singles, I think Madeline Abbott and Abbott and Julia Wolf were the winners at 1 and 2 singles over Breck and Olivia. But those are 2 very good players.
No, they are very good players. Shanley definitely has 2 quality kids up top, and then they kind of fall off, and we really have some good depth. So I mean, we were able to win 3, 4, 5 singles handily and 2, 3 doubles handily. So we had 5 wins. Pretty handily, which was good for us because we knew Shanley was going to be in that middle group of teams with us. So now in that middle group where I say that's where we're going to get our seeding from, we're 1-0 in that bracket now. So
right.
that's what we needed to do. But if you look at our singles, I mean, Olivia didn't play singles at all last year with her injury, and she played an amazing match, like the best I've ever seen her play. She's grown so much in the singles department in our short 3 weeks of actually hitting some tennis balls. So that was amazing to see. And Breck, she had Abbott on the ropes. We had a match point in which Breck had a volley that went out by about this much. So I mean, it was that, but that was the difference between a win and a loss at number 1 doubles and number 1 singles. And then at number 1 doubles too, we had a heck of a match and ended up losing that one in 3 sets also. And so very, very tight matches. And I have talked to Breck and Olivia about that match on the way home, and they were asking questions and learning, and that's what you got to do. And we talked about the mental side of tennis because I think if we're going to lose some matches, I'm glad it was that one because we're early enough in the season to be like, how can we move forward from this? How do we react in those situations? And it didn't affect our team standings. We still won the match, so now we can figure out how can we get those especially Breck's and number 1 doubles. How can we get those 2 from being very, very tight losses to very tight wins in the next time you see it.
You hear the phrase, they got to learn how to win.
Yep.
And that's kind of similar to what you're talking about here.
Well, and I'd say it's I don't know if it's learning how to win. I think it's learning how to win when you are the one that's expected to win. Because they knew coming in that, we took 5th at doubles last season at the state tournament, so I think they felt that pressure of we're supposed to win. So how can we manage that pressure, and how can we just play tennis and not worry about that outcome and just go get it?
Well, now this busy week, as I mentioned last night, now Thursday and Friday coming up. Fargo South first up here tomorrow night.
Yeah, we got Fargo South tomorrow night at home. It's a 4:00 match. Tomorrow we are going to try something a little bit different. Alyssa Thompson's going to get her first varsity match in doubles, and I think right now we're going to put Ella Olson's going to get her first singles varsity match ever tomorrow. So that's going to be exciting to see them. Tomorrow we are favored, and we're still putting Breck and Olivia and all them out there, but we are going to try a little something, getting a couple, because we have to play 7 come regionals.
Right.
We've been playing 6. So we need to play Alyssa, we need to play Ella just to get them varsity experiences and see like when we have a 3-2 lineup, like who's going to be where and how it's going to work best. So we got to start playing with it. So tomorrow's the match to do it. We are 2-1. Tomorrow, if we go out and play our game, we should come out ahead.
Then on Friday, Williston, Wahpeton, Jamestown, Valley City will be here. You got you get a bookends matches at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. tomorrow on Friday.
And actually, we had to switch it with Wahpeton because we tried to schedule Wahpeton twice and we got weathered out. So what's actually going to happen is that on Saturday we're going to play Williston at 10 a.m. Wahpeton's coming up. We're going to play our EDC duel at noon against Wahpeton, and Williston's actually going to head back to Jamestown and play Jamestown in Jamestown. And then when they get done, Jamestown's going to drive to Valley to play Wahpeton in Valley City. So it'll be Jamestown, Wahpeton, 4 o'clock in Valley City. So, I mean, we're all going everywhere, but we understand what's going on. We're going to get a ton of tennis in Valley City. It's going to be great.
Well, like you told your players, forget about the weather. We're going to get our EDC matches in.
We are going to get it in. If it's noon on a Friday on a school day, the match is getting in.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And weather looks great.
Weather does look great, and it should be a lot of fun. We don't know anything about Williston, and we're going to throw out a lineup that we've never played before. Breck and Olivia are going to play probably some doubles with some players they've never played before, and we're going to have Abby Martinick probably at number 1 and Kaylee at 2 in our 3-2 lineup. And I don't know what Williston's bringing, but I said we need to try different things so that way we're ready when regionals comes around because we might have weird lineups. So we're going to go with the weird lineup on Friday against Williston and see how it fares. And then we'll play Wahpeton right after that. And we'll see how things go on Thursday. I'm thinking Alyssa will probably get another opportunity at 3 doubles with Kaylee on Friday after she plays with Kaylee on Thursday, just to see if that's going to be a doubles team that works.
Is that something, too, is your mindset is we got to maybe we use these early matches to find that chemistry and find what works?
Yep, and it's a lot about experience, too, because what I've noticed with our team in the past with doubles is that we coach doubles the same. Kids are taking that coaching well and they're enacting it. So a lot of times when we plug and play people, it's not that big of a deal for us because our kids all have the same positive attitude. They all know our expectations of positive contact between points, about memory like a goldfish. So if you screw up a volley, you can't dwell on it. You go, I'm getting the next one. So we all play that way. So I think our team is lucky that we can all have that mentality. So if we have a different doubles team, that they can still go out and execute.
I didn't know Goldfish had good memories.
They don't. That's the whole point.
That's what you meant.
You're supposed to forget. So like when you duff one in the net, you have a memory like a goldfish, so you don't dwell on that miss and get scared up at the net.
Sure.
You forget about it and you go attack the next ball.
Elephants have good memories, but
there
not goldfish. We go. All right. Well, Matt, again, I appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us. 2-1 start in the conference and overall. Again, matches here at the Northside Tennis Courts here in Valley City tomorrow with Fargo South at 4 o'clock, and then on Friday.
Yep.
10 a.m. will be the Williston match.
Yep.
And then noon or right after?
Yep, noon out. After the Williston match will be our EDC match.
And did you say 3-2 is going to be the Williston match, or that be the normal 5-6?
We'll do a 3-2 against Williston, so a playoff format, and then our traditional 6-3 lineup, 6 singles and 3 doubles against Wahpeton for our EDC.
All right. Well, Coach, again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks, and probably really have a good plan on when you're going to be a week away from the EDC. We'll be talking in a couple of weeks.
Well, and hopefully, if all the weather's good, we're just going to have 2 matches left because it'll be a Thursday and a Friday match because we have Cheyenne to make up. So we should know exactly what needs to happen before regionals come that day.
Sounds great, Matt. Again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Matt is Matt Nielsen, head tennis coach from the Highliners. We'll be back and wrap things up on Coach's Corner on the Highliner Activity Network. Back here on the Highliner Activity Network and Coach's Corner on this Wednesday evening, our first show of May. And just a reminder, a couple of things to remind you again that the audio lag that we've been talking about, a little bit behind that video as you're watching us live here on PlaySite.com or the Highliner Activity Network. So, again, but when it's on YouTube and archived later on, it will be all synced up and back to normal. But if you are watching us live right now, again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you joining us every Wednesday night here on Coach's Corner, but you'll have a little bit of that audio lag. Next Wednesday night, we will not have a Coach's Corner here on next Wednesday night. what we will have is the School Board Candidates Forum, and that'll be at 5:30, and that'll be in the HAC lobby, and I will be moderating that, so we will have that for you here on our GoCam channel. Again, next Wednesday at 5:30, it'll be the Valley City Public Schools School Board Candidates Forum, so tune in and get to know your candidates and who all is going to be running for that school board election coming up here, I believe, in June when the city elections get going. So again, no show next week, but we'll be back again on May 18th. And just some things that are coming up on the Highlander Activity Network here on Thursday night, tomorrow night. We just heard Coach Nielsen talk about it. Tennis, 4 o'clock against Fargo South. And then on Saturday, the matinees, the two early, 10 a.m. and 12 noon. First, Williston against the Highliners, and then Wahpeton at noon. And then later on in the evening, we'll have doubleheader baseball from Charlie Brown Field, as Valley City will have a doubleheader coming up here, 5 and 7 o'clock against, I believe, the Fargo South Bruins will be coming in. That's Friday night from Charlie Brown Field. We'll have doubleheader baseball here on the Highlander Activity Network. Some concerts coming up Monday night. There's a choir concert, senior high choir concert on Monday. And also coming up next Thursday is the Jazz and Band concert. There's a Jazz and concert coming up here next Thursday. So just some things to think about that are coming up, and what's going on here at the HAC, and what's going on the Highlander Activity Network. And again, to find us, you go to the Highlanders.org on the home page. Up at the top, you'll see it says live. You click on that live button, and that'll take you to all of our channels, to our Highlander Activity Network, and there's a listing of all our channels that you can watch, different sports, and of course, down at their bottom, it has the YouTube archived channel. And you click on that, and you can watch past Coaches Corners. Any event that we have had on the Highlander Activity Network here, you can watch it live, watch it again on YouTube. Again, Highlanders.org, click on the live button, and that'll take you to the Highlander Activity Network, and you can watch all of those events over and over again. Again, want to thank our guests tonight, Trevor Hansen, Trevor Bacalar, and Matt Nielsen. And one final shout-out. We were talking about teacher recognition. Congratulations to Annette Beatty, the tech education teacher here at Valley City Public Schools, Teacher of the Year for 2022. Of course, she's also the robotics coach for the state champion robotics team that Valley City has. So congratulations to Annette and what she does, and all our teachers. I mean, as I mentioned, I was raised by a teacher. Our cameraman was raised by a teacher and still is. Teachers, we thank you for what you do for our young people. That is our future, and you are getting them ready for whatever awaits them as they get ready for high school. And, of course, here at the HAC here in about 3 weeks, we got graduation. So an exciting time here around Valley City. For my cameraman and technical director tonight, Jaden Johnson. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And as always, our thanks to our sponsors, the Dickey Rural Network, the Highlander Booster Club, and also the Essentia Health. Until next, again, no show next week, but we'll be back on the 18th of May at 6 o'clock, Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network.